Welcome to Resilient AF Midlife Mama. I am talking today about emotional regulation. I'm going to try to do it without crying. It's a really sensitive topic for me. As a professional, I'm a speech language pathologist that knew about executive function. I worked with preschoolers, so at a different level. And I didn't fully understand the emotional regulation behavioral component of executive functioning. So while in the thick of raising my kids, I didn't acknowledge or comprehend how our nervous systems were co-regulating. And there's lots of stuff I didn't know, right? So I've done the work to release the guilt of not knowing and of not doing better or different or whatever. Instead of steeping in guilt, I've chosen to educate myself and share with others. So, and I've learned so much. I'm fascinated by this whole topic. And what's challenging for me is that I'm really painfully aware of my own shit, right? Like my anxiety, my inability sometimes to emotionally regulate as a mom who's totally stressed out raising 3 kids, homeschooling, whatever, like doing all the things, and how much that affects the other people in the house, particularly my kids that struggle with executive function and emotional regulation. So, and it has become clearer as they've gotten older, and as there's been more distance, and that's a hard thing to see. It's a really hard thing to see. I mean, I can't go back now, right? But I can help other people that are in the thick of it to understand what's going on and learn how to back up from it. So a lot of what I'm going to talk about, you might want to go to my blog to read because I've got some visual images on there. Because really what emotional regulation has to do with is the nervous system regulation, and it's the polyvagal theory or ladder. There's it can be described as the polyvagal ladder, which are depicted in a couple of images that I have on my blog. So you probably want to go over and check those out. I'll put the link it's always in the description of the episode. So basically, like our autonomic nervous system, there's 3 levels. There's safety, there's danger, and then there's life threat. And this is, a lot of people think of it as the fight, flight, freeze zone. And so one of the ways that I really like to think of it, it's a similar concept, is the window of tolerance. And I remember this several years ago being taught to me in a women's meditation group by a wonderful teacher. And I remember the moment so clearly because she described the window of tolerance, and it was like so eye-opening to me. Like you have those aha moments in life. And it was one of those aha moments for sure. So the window of a tolerance is like our optimal zone where we're in a cool place, we're alert, we're not anxious, we're able to communicate, we can learn, we can problem solve, we're connected, we're relaxed, we're flexible, it's like we're in our cool zone, everything's cool, it's groovy, it's the groovy spot. And right above that is this zone of hyperarousal, which is like that high level of feeling overwhelmed and anxious and stressed and angry, and the body just wants to flee. Like it's that takeoff mode, which is that sympathetic nervous system activation. Your heart rate's increasing and your blood pressure's increasing and you're breathing faster and you're just like in that anxious zone. So that can close your window. So if this is your window of tolerance, and this part, this is why you need to go to the blog so you can see it. I'm trying to show it. But yeah, so the top of the window is coming down. And then there's below it the zone of hyperarousal. Hypoarousal, which is that like feeling zoned out, that sort of disassociation, shut down, that like in the zone, right? Where the body just gets to that freeze point and it's survival state. And neither of those, and of course that when you're in that, that's also closing that window of tolerance. So the good news is that there are things we can do to bring us back and to open our window of tolerance. I lost my train of thought for a moment. Okay, so when you're, so when you do things like mindfulness or, you just did deep breathing exercises or aroma freedom technique. If you do, if people do EFT or EMDR, like if you engage in things like that, you can bring the nervous system back to a place where the window of tolerance is yet open again. And the more open your window of tolerance is, like the more chill you are, right? So, I could talk about this for days and I'm trying to keep it relatively brief. And I'll go deeper in this in other places, but yeah, so it's, some of the strategies that we can use, whether it's at home or in school, with kids. I mean, this window of tolerance stuff is like for all of us, right? But then there are kids that have issues with this particular aspect of executive functioning, and this is really hard for them. And so you're going to see a lot of meltdowns, tantrums, screaming, crying, like extreme inappropriate laughter, like things that aren't in sync with the situation at hand. And so some of the strategies is just like being able to support them, being aware of the outbursts and the consequences of the surroundings, and being able to support them in that space, being aware of stressful situations that are occurring, whether it's at school or at home or both. Clarifying the expectations to reduce their feelings of being overwhelmed, creating safe, supportive environments that foster empathy, really helping them learn to self-regulate. So using scales, one of the tools that we had was like thermometer. It was a thermometer picture, and it kind of the child was asked to monitor on that picture where they were based on what temperature they were at, so they could sort of self-regulate and realize that their temperature was rising on their thermometer and they needed to use some tools to pull themselves back to keep that window open, right? Because once the window's getting close to closed, we're in a danger zone. It's trouble, and it's harder to pull back from it. So helping them to learn to catch themselves a little bit earlier. And I think for me, personally, I can look back and I can see that there are so many situations that could have been averted had I had this knowledge and been aware of it. So it's my mission to share it and to help other parents to be able to work with it. And it's really important for us as moms, as parents, to be doing the things to take care of ourselves so that we keep our window of tolerance open. Because it's the chicken and the egg, right? Like, kids struggling with whatever, it stresses us out. And then when we're stressed out, they escalate in their behaviors, and it just circles from there, and it's a vicious cycle. So, yeah, the goal is to knock that down. Knock that out. Yeah. So, that's all I've got for today. I'm going to keep it short, but go to the blog, check it out. There's lots of really good visuals on there, and yeah, join Resilient AF Midlife Mamas Facebook group if you want to hang with some other moms who are learning and dealing with these kinds of challenges, where you don't have to feel so alone in all of this, where you can get some support and talk to other moms who like get it. We get it. I get it. All right. Stay strong. Bye-bye.